Hello guys, welcome to Hooked. I'm Phil, also known as Nasrod, and I'm here with Loda, who used to be playing with SK Gaming back in the day, and now formed his own team in Dota 2 after he switched to Heroes of Neroth and back. Called Experience. Welcome, Loda.
Thanks a lot. I'm happy to be here.
Can you give us a small introduction about yourself, other than what I just did?
My name is Jonathan Berg. I'm 23 years old. I'm studying at university at the moment, but I've had some free time lately, so I've been going back into Dota, wanting to create a new team to compete for the first prize.
So, the first prize, you're actually competing to be one of the best teams, I suppose, since you have been at the top in Dota. How does your practice schedule look for Experience right now?
Well, right now we've practiced a lot in the beginning, when we just started playing, like after NASL in the middle of December. But due to holidays, we haven't been able to practice much. We're actually going to start practicing together tomorrow when everyone gets back from vacation. Miracle is visiting his family. Aki is here in Gothenburg visiting his family, and so on. So we haven't been able to play that much as the full five since the beginning. But we played in some tournaments with a mix and worked out fine. We beat some of the best teams, but I mean, we were kind of lucky as well. So.
well, I always enjoyed the play style of Hunt teams or teams that used to play Hunt together. They usually play so much faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are your plans as a team? Not only, you're not only going to try to be the best. I guess you have some targets you want to reach. So what exactly are those?
Well, it's not like we believe we will reach the top right away. We don't at all. We're gonna put a lot of effort into it, practice a lot together, and just make sure. The most important thing is to make sure the team works together, like personality-wise, and with team play, keeping talk up. And in some months, hopefully, we'll get there.
Have you? Do you have any plans to play in tournaments, in big tournaments, or do you have, or do you just want to practice and get better before you actually do so?
Nah, we'll sign up for most of the tournaments we can get into just to get the practice. I mean, that's how you get real practice. I mean, you can play how many scrims you want and win a lot of scrims, but if you don't get tournament practice where you know how to react to the kind of games where it actually matters if you win or lose. So I think we're gonna play as much real games as we can and practice over that.
You've already played in the Inside Dota Invitational and did a pretty good job there. Have you been approached by any sponsors as a team, since you have played pretty well together, even though you're such a new team?
Yeah, we actually have. I've been contacted by pretty good names and pretty big sponsors, but we decided from the start that we won't jump into some sponsorship just because they want a big name that they can show, and then we get some results for them and blah blah blah. We want a real sponsor that wants to invest time into the team and go for something more long term. I mean, I already got a lot of offers just because, well, it's arrogant to say it maybe, but just because of Loda, because I have a big name and it gives good exposure. But still, I mean, we're gonna wait for a good offer, and especially a sponsor that we feel good with, where we have someone we can work with that we feel at ease with, and so on.
Well, a lot of teams have already got a sponsor now, like Milesports, Fnatic, etc. already picked up a Dota 2 team. Do you think they rushed those decisions? Like, do you think people should have waited a bit longer before going into sponsorship?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you looked at the Dota skill level early on, like at the international, and after that at DreamHack as well, I mean, all those teams that did well, they're really good teams, but still, when I look at Dota 2, I just feel that there's so many teams that could be so much better. I mean, I'm not saying we are much better than them. I'm just saying they make these mistakes that they really can't. And if you look at Dota 1, the teams there are playing much more like as perfect as possible. So therefore, I think the big sponsors easily picked up some teams too early. But I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if they found teams that they knew would stick together, and usually that's the most important thing for a sponsor, that they get a team that will stick together and plays in top 3 like almost all the time. So maybe they were a bit too early to pick up teams, but still, I'm not sure what they should do instead. They don't want to be too late to get the good teams. You know what I mean? Like, if they miss the chance of getting one of the top teams, they're really fucked in one really big game. So I think that's a big reason.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at how cheap it is for sponsors to pick up a team right now, for Dota 2, like it's not like in Counter-Strike where they actually have salaries or can have salaries.
A lot of teams have salaries. Maybe not so much salaries, but they do have salaries already.
I suppose most teams don't have a salary, so
Yeah,
they only really pay with gear, with T-shirts, with...
Yeah, and I don't think teams realize that. I mean, it's so stupid to sign a dumb sponsorship. I mean, they get a lot of exposure from any team that actually places in top 3, and that's good PR for themselves because they get investments from other big companies. And I just feel that a lot of teams, they are okay with just picking the name from a sponsor, but they don't really get anything except for gear. And sure, they get travel to LANs and so on, but still, I think Dota is going to be a really big game, so you don't want to sign up with a bad contract early on. I mean, you can't expect too much, but you need to have it worked out from the start, like when you will change the contract, when you will get salaries or more salaries, or if you get a lot of results, will you get even higher salaries, you know, all of these things. And a lot of teams, they don't take it seriously enough, I think. So they just go with anything. I mean, as I said, I've been contacted by a lot of sponsors, and most of them I just turn down without talking to them because I know they won't offer anything really.
Yeah, I know from a lot of sponsors who actually just offer, as I said, gaming gear and the travel cost to LAN events.
Yeah. And I mean, they even get their gear from some other sponsor like SteelSeries or Razer. So they don't really give you that much. And if you're not good enough, you won't get sent to a LAN. And that's one of the weirdest things, I think, that a lot of sponsors don't send their teams to LANs if they feel that the team won't be able to win or whatever. But how will they get the LAN experience that they need to be able to compete with the best teams if they don't get sent? It's, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You always got to see, though, that it's pretty expensive to send 5 people.
Yeah, of course.
To another country or...
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly another country.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, then you have to question what you really want to do with the team. If you want them to be one of those top 3 teams, or you just want to have a team for having your name out there, you know. There's a difference in what sponsor want to achieve.
Speaking of sponsors and salaries, what do you think is going to happen with Dota 2? I don't know if you followed the development of StarCraft 2 and the StarCraft 2 scene, and a lot of people in StarCraft 2, especially in Korea, of course, already get salaries, big salaries that people can live off actually. What do you think will happen in Dota 2 regards to that? Like, do you think Dota 2 will allow people to live from it?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not in the next year. Well, it could be this year. I mean, it all depends on how much money you can win from it. I mean, since we have the international that they will host again, IceFrog even confirmed it. That's a prize pool of $1 million for the first team, and I mean, sponsors realize that soon they will actually be able to make a lot of money out of the prize pools, and will have to be able to give the players good salaries so they can play together all the time and practice to be able to contend for that. So I think we'll see I mean, compared to Dota 1, I think it's going to be very different. But it's going to take some time. I mean, I'm not even sure when the game is going to be released. I've heard a couple of rumors about when they want to release it, but I mean, the open beta is not even open, so.
Yeah, and if they keep releasing heroes at the current rate, they're not going to release it as they said in the first quarter of this year. I don't think.
Yeah. I feel as well, but we'll see. Maybe they will just release it without adding all the heroes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
We've already seen EG go into a team house and train there. Do you look forward to doing stuff like that yourself? Sitting in a house with all your team training for weeks straight?
Well, I mean, I'm playing because I love the competition, so I would easily enjoy doing that with my team. I think you really need to live together for a while and practice together for a while to stand a chance against the best teams. And when I say the best teams, I mean when China decides to go into Dota 2, 100%, the European teams will need to have those teams where or these team houses where they can practice, because that's what the Chinese are doing. And if we don't do that, I don't see how we will be able to keep up with them.
What do you think about something like a GSL for Dota 2?
When I think about it, well, of course I think it would be a good idea, but someone would actually have to create it. So, I mean, everyone loves big tournaments, so not so much to say.
Well, I would like to go a little more and talk about yourself. You played, as I already stated, you played Han before switching to Dota 2.
Yeah.
What caused that switch? Is it anything in particular, or do you just want to go back to your roots and play some Dota again?
Oh, you mean why I switched back?
Yep.
Well, I switched from the beginning mostly because I was tired of the Dota people I was playing with. Sad to say. I just didn't want to put the energy into creating a new team because I couldn't focus that much. So I started playing Han because of my real life friends, and I've been playing because of that. Then I stopped with Han for a while again, and then Ake made me start once and more by joining their team because they lacked the carry. But I always wanted to play Dota. I always thought Dota was a funnier game, but still, it always depends on how fun you have playing. And when you're playing with people you know, you have more fun. So that's what I go with. But since I was able to get Ake to switch back to Dota 2, I really felt like creating a Swedish team. So that was a big reason. I like Dota more, but I wanted to create a new team and with the game I like the most.
When you went back to Dota 2, how hard did you find it to adapt to the game? Because I really had a lot of issues. I played Han myself for the past 2 years, and then went to play Dota 2, and it felt so slow, and there's like a 2-second delay, at least it feels like it, before everything you do. all animations have such a huge delay. All the attack animations are a little harder, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's Dota. Well, it took a lot of time for me to get used to it as well. Like, I had to play like 100 games or something until I really felt at ease with the game. Before that, it was really felt sluggish. But I think Dota, Dota is balanced out of these animations, and I think that's good. In Han, everything is instant, and that makes it stupid. I mean, support heroes can easily outlast its carry heroes, and their spell animations are instant as well. So, I mean, I don't really know. It's just about getting used to it, I would say. But Han is a bit more fast-paced, and that's true. But I think if you look at like what the viewers want to see, I think Han is even harder to notice what's happening if you haven't played the game for a long while, because since all the spells are instant and you look at the fights, when I started playing Han, I wasn't able to see my hero because of all the animations. So I just think it's all about getting used to it. I think Han is a fine game as well. I'm not going to flame it or anything. I think it's stupid that people can't accept that there's more than one game that you can play. So.
Yeah, I actually have a few more questions about Han and your adaptation to Dota 2. One of which is, are there any S2 heroes that you're going to miss in Dota 2?
Any S2 heroes?
Yeah, any heroes that were added in Han specifically?
Well, I think there's so many imbalanced heroes. I liked so long ago that I played Han, I have to think. I think Parasite was kind of cool. I think Amon-Ra was like the idea of the hero was kind of cool. But I think it was kind of broken as well for so long.
It still is.
I will miss the pub stomp heroes like Deadwood and.
No man.
Yeah, well, it's so easy. You can just play a game, go mid, insta kill one hero at level 6, go roam, buy dagger, keep killing. But that's the kind of heroes I miss. But the last heroes they added, they only got more and more fucked up, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. They just get more over.
They felt they had to do something new with every hero, so it got kind of annoying when every new hero had to be like, oh my god, it's Gemini and he can swap into 2 wolves and kill everything, and it's really bugged them. You get annoyed when those heroes get added. But I miss Monkey King as well, and Drunken Master. I think those heroes were cool.
Then again, if you look at Dota right now, a few of the new heroes that were added, like the Wisp or Phoenix, actually are pretty broken too, and they kind of tried to add something new to the game that wasn't in it yet.
I don't think they're broken to the same extent, and they take a lot. In Dota, they never, they take months to actually allow the hero in captain's mode. In Han, it takes 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you get the hero in CM, so that's the difference. In Dota, they know from the start that, we're going to add this pub hero, it's really imbalanced. Let the public play it for a long while and also see what the competitive players have to say about it, and then they balance it out after a while. So that's the difference, I think.
Yeah, definitely. What about items? Do you have any items that were added in Han specifically that you're going to miss, that you like, that you think should be in Dota?
Well, only one. Well, I missed Riders on support heroes because it made it so much easier for them to move around. I miss that you can use heal on your own allies, on your allies. So you could save people with having Eel's Scepter. In Dota, you can't do that. What can I miss more? I think Harp and was a kind of cool item. Like the idea of the item was kind of cool, but not much more than that.
I personally kind of missed Nomus when I played some support heroes like Enigma or Dazzle in Dota 2.
Yeah. Well, I didn't play much support, so.
But then again, they just added an item that's much like Gnomes in the Dota 2 in the newest Dota 2 version.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know the name, Loda something, I think. And while we're at it, Loda it does no, that's not it. Ring of Akela, that's it. It gives you 9 damage, 3 all stats, where you do agility, 1 armor, 2 armor aura, and the mana regeneration aura. You can upgrade it from Basilius.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played Dota 1 for a long while, so I don't really know what's going on there.
Have you taken a look at the change logs at all?
No, not so much. Well, I know, I've been checking the change logs, except for the last one, the really big one.
The last one brings so many changes.
Yeah, I know. But since Dota 2 is a bit different, I try to focus on that instead.
Yeah, I get that. I actually was going to ask you about the NMH change they did. They reduced its armor by 1 and made the base attack time a bit worse than it is right now.
Oh yeah?
Do you think that would be enough to fix the hero in Dota 2 right now?
Yeah, I don't think you should nerf heroes too much. I mean, that's the worst thing when they add a hero, it starts to get picked a lot, and then they just nerf it to oblivion, and no one picks it for 2 years. I mean, that's a bad way to solve an imbalance. I'm not even sure. I don't think Magebane is that imbalanced, but in Dota 2 it's even worse because there's so few heroes. So you can't make any really weird strats. I mean, Magebane will always get the space to farm, so. I think, yeah, he needs maybe animation nerf and the armor nerf would be fine, and we'll see how it works out. I think it's fine to just do small nerfs at the time. But I think people underestimate that you can actually use Magebane, like use teams picking Magebane against them, like picking really early, like they do in Han, picking really early game heroes and pushing base really fast with a lot of action and heroes that can keep him down. That's what we try to do at least. I mean, we try a lot of different strats at the moment just to see if we can change the gameplay somehow. If you have secret strats or whatever you call them for really important games, that can give you a free win because the other team doesn't know how to adapt right away. So I think there are ways to counter him, but he is too strong. I think Furion is too strong as well, so I think that's where we would need a nerf.
I think he got a nerf in the news change log.
Oh yeah, he did? I guess so. I just think this is so stupid.
They only rescaled the ultimate though. They gave it a little more cooldown on Dota 2.
Yeah, well that makes sense because the ulti was so stupid because even if you are able to keep the other team down, you will always get pushed if you don't have really strong anti-push heroes because of that fucking ulti, so. And it does a lot of damage, so. Seems like a good change.
Let's get away a little from the hero and item talk. And to the last question I have regarding Han, which is, what of the 2 games do you think is more interesting? Is Han more entertaining to watch, or is it Dota 2?
I think that Dota 2 is easier to watch for the people who haven't watched any of the games before. The graphics are a bit more easy to like, I guess, for a wider range of people. Like the kind of people who doesn't play games at all, they can just watch Dota and say like, "Oh, Earthshaker is so cute. Look at that." I don't know. I think both games are good and really interesting, but it most depends on how many people actually play the games, I would say. That's what, and like how big tournaments there are. But I think Dota will grow bigger than Han the next year, easily.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it will, especially with the promise of a $1 million tournament, or even more than 1 million.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool to see that League of Legends is doing good, because that makes Valve that they have to invest even more money into tournaments and stuff. So I think the competition is kind of good for both games. I mean, I don't like LoL that much at all, but still, it makes all companies higher the prize pool.
Yeah, I mean, after Dota 2 released the information about that $1.6 million tournament, which was the international, we actually saw Riot Games introducing their season 2 with $5 million.
Yeah, exactly. So they are like trying to get the highest prize pool and so on. But the League of Legends prize pool is for a long league, I think. So that's
I think it's like 8 months or something.
Yeah,
Whole season.
but still the price is pretty sick.
Yeah, it is. Apart from your team and the ex-Hunt players in your team, do you see any other ex-Hunt players who are actually capable of competing in the Dota 2 scene right now?
Well, Mouse, I think, easily could compete with most of the teams. I mean, they have a lot of good players, and with a lot of Hunt players that switch back. Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They switched from Dota to Han, and then after a long while they switched back. So I think you can easily bring stuff from Han that makes you a better player in Dota. So I think Mouse can easily compete with the best teams.
Anyone else? I think there's a few American players.
A few American teams, yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, we played against GDT. They had like Snaking and stuff, and they're good, sure. I just don't feel that they are like one of the teams that will actually contend for top 3. I mean, there are a lot of teams that can beat other top teams, but they will never reach top 3. So, well, time will tell, I would say. I mean, at the moment, the skill level and the skill difference between teams aren't so big. If you don't count like Dandy being the best player in Europe, winning games by himself. So.
Speaking of Navi, who instead of them, like disregarding the whole team, who would you say is the strongest European Dota 2 team in the scene right now?
Wow, I really can't answer that. I mean, EG should be really strong, but maybe they haven't played enough Dota 2 yet to actually be strong enough. I mean, there is a big difference between switching from Dota 1 to Dota 2. But other top teams, as I said before, a lot of teams are at the same level as each other. I mean, if SK actually used their full lineup with Miguel and Angel, as they did today against Problem, they have a pretty good team. And Link and Rice practice a lot as well. So they should have a really good team. Other than that, I don't know. It's maybe TR or M5. MTW is kind of strong, but after DreamHack, it feels like they throw a game some games they should actually win. So I'm not sure.
At what point in time do you think are we going to see you on the same level as them? Like, do you believe that anytime soon that we'll see
Well,
you competing in any top 3 at tournaments?
Well, I don't think it will be that long. Maybe 2 months, if I can say that. I mean, it all depends on. Like tomorrow, we're gonna sit down with the team, talk it through. I just finalized the real 5 players we're gonna use. So we're just gonna sit down, have a real talk about how much we can practice. If everyone wants to achieve the same thing and so on. If everything works out, I think we're in 2 months at least, we're gonna be able to win against anyone. I mean, already from scrims and so on, I felt that if we just practice, we can easily stay at the top because we play a bit different than the other teams, and I think we will learn to be more, have a much wider span of heroes than the other teams. We will try to use that, so we'll see. I think maybe 2 months, that's what I said.
Do you have any interesting strategies, obviously, that you don't see much in Dota 2 right now, that we're going to see from you?
Well, we have some. I mean, we lose a couple of games, like, when I really outpick ourselves, because I don't want to pick the, like, Night Stalker and Ant Mage and Brood Mother. But we have some strats that we're working on that could work pretty well. I mean, we had some kind of strat that we used for a while when we played some tournaments and some scrims with Pudge and roaming Venno side. But I mean, that's not so different. But we have some strategies that we're trying to make work that have some heroes that are not used at all. But we'll see how it works out. I'm just saying that Husker is a really strong hero.
Yeah, he really is. Even though people seem to think he's only to be used in top leagues right now.
Yeah. Well, especially together with Omni. I think a lot of teams will start using Omni more. We are one of the teams that's we try to play with Omni as much as possible, just to make other teams bad.
There's that one Heroes of New Earth strategy that I'm still burning to see, which is having Queen of Pain and Omni Knight in the same team.
Why?
I don't know, it's just so exciting and so strong to see that, because you can just make Quap magic immune, and he's so strong so early in the game because of that.
Yeah, well, I think Quap is better in On. That's one of the things I miss, actually. Scream of Pain is a bit worse, and the ult is a bit worse, so... I think she can work, but she's kind of squishy, so... I mean, any hero that has Blink almost all the time is really, really good if you make it work, obviously. Maybe with Omni. Maybe I will try it out.
I'm looking forward to it. Okay, I guess we're going to head into a little break. After the break, we're going to allow the people in the chat to ask some questions.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, we'll be right back for you guys. Thanks for watching.
That's cool. I need to take something to drink. Yeah, I'm back.
We're here with Loda. If you didn't catch the first part of the interview, you can always check the box after the show. It's going to be uploaded automatically as far as I know. Right now, you can ask questions to Loda right here in the Twitch TV chat. We'll select the best ones, the ones we see most suitable, I guess. And Loda will answer them as well as he can. For Loda, I remember watching you in Han Beta carry hard with a landing Legionnaire build. Any tips for a similar playstyle for eggs in Dota 2?
Can you repeat that question, please?
Do you have any tips for carrying axe playstyle in Dota 2?
Carrying axe?
Yeah, because you did that in Han.
Oh my god. I actually hate axe a lot in Dota 2. I don't know why. When I play him, I usually just go mid and play with Battle Hunger. Because if you play it in the right way, you can easily keep him back, whoever it is, by just spamming Battle Hunger. I mean, you can go bottle or whatever, just go for a troll build. It usually works out. Then I always go Vanguard, obviously. Blade Mail, Blink, and then maybe Radiance or whatever. But I can't say I'm carrying with that hero so often. I'm always randoming, and every time I get Axe, I'm like, fuck, why do I always get Axe on random? So I don't have a good answer to that one.
Yeah. Most people play eggs in the forest anyway, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Besides Miracle and Ake, who else the part of the new team?
Nose is one of the players. He's a really good player who played Dota 1 in Team Val or Team Valin or whatever it will call. We played a lot in Han as well. And he's the kind of guy who is nice to have on your team. He can play any hero you ask him to play, and he doesn't whine so much, and he's just a really good player. I think he ended up like in the top 2 or top 1 in ladder in Han as well, so he's a really skilled player that a lot of players didn't hear about before. And for the 5th, we are, as I told you, I have a finalized lineup, but I have to talk it through with my team first. But at the moment, we're gonna use Pinoy we played in Fierce before as our 5th player, and then use Fuel or Nico as a stand-in. But the 5 players is me, Ake, Nose, Miracle, and Pinoy as it looks now.
Do you you have any intentions to start a blog again? And do you have a homepage for your clan?
That's a really good question. Well, actually, we are working on projects with the team to create a. We're creating a homepage where we all the players can keep blogs. We're gonna have some video blogs and so on, just to give something back to our fans, to show them some of our real life. Maybe talk through some drafts or something we tried when we scrimmed, or just so they can hear what's going on Skype during the games or whatever. So we're working on that site now. We're gonna have results and after a while sponsors as well. So be sure to wait for that to be announced.
Someone asked whether you were playing with Pycat last night.
Yeah, I was. What game? I think we lost. That was one thing I would talk to my friend before about as well. Like Matrim from MTW. I have to give him a shout out as well. But I usually win pubs. But recently, when only me and Pycat played, I lost almost all of them. So I'm not sure what to take that as. Maybe we're just two strong personalities, both of us.
Yeah, I know that feeling. What do you think will it take to have Dota 2 take off in North America like it has with StarCraft 2?
Well, I think they just need teams to actually stick together and pull through the hard parts of being a team when you lose a lot and so on. The problem in that scene has been that you can't really follow any of the teams because there's always rage to be posted on some random forum, and then one guy will get kicked. Then they will lose one game and people will start questioning the kick and so on. So I think the only thing they need is they need a strong community that sticks behind their teams. So that's what I think is most important. I mean, in Sweden, for example, we don't have a really big community, but at least I have always been that way, that I always try to support other Swedish people, other Swedish players. So we can just make an impact on the scene and be proud of each other instead of just blaming each other when you fail. So.
Yeah, I think actually that we're going to see a lot of teams from Han switching over to Dota, which means we're going to have a lot of new high-skilled players are going to play Dota 2. Do you want to see Dota 2 featured in any NA circuits such as MLG, IPL, or NASL?
Yeah, easily. I love competing in the States and I love traveling there. And they are usually very serious about the events, so I would like them in everything possible. I mean, more tournaments just makes better competition and gives teams the time and money they need to be able to practice much with each other. So the more tournaments, the better quality of games we'll see.
What else do we have? Are you waiting for any particular hero to enter the pool in Dota 2?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Phantom Assassin. I mean, Phantom Assassin PA.
Yeah.
The hero, 4 crits. I just miss pub something with that hero. It's fucking awesome. Other than that, there's a lot of heroes that needs to be added to make way for weird strategies, like Keeper of the Light. Wisp is kind of fun, and so on. I mean, just as long as they don't add Gorgon, that's fine with me. Gorgon and Tree, those two heroes are so fucking boring, so anything but them.
If PA was added to Dota 2 anytime soon, do you think we would see her in competitive play?
Well, I would easily try to make her being played. Maybe PA Omni is a pretty strong combo as well. The thing with Dota 2 at the moment is that a lot of teams focus on these pretty weird carry heroes, so it makes it easier to put in heroes that won't fit into strategies in Dota 1. That's how I feel, at least. So maybe, but it's very hard to say, actually.
Do you have any changes in mind that you would like to see in Dota 2, whether it be balance, UI improvements, or anything else?
Well, most of all, I just want the heroes to be added, so the game can be more, so there can be a wider span of heroes and strategies being tried out. As I said before, I would like the Eels scepters to be able to be used on allies as well as opponents, so you can use it in more situations. But I guess that's some kind of trademark problem between HON and Dota 2. Other than that, I don't really know. Maybe the items from Dota 1 as well. So there are a couple of items missing. So I mean, you shouldn't add too much at one time. I think Dota is fine. You just need more heroes and so on.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Why do you play Dota or HON as opposed to any other game genre? What is it about this style of game you like so much?
Well, I asked myself that question many times. I don't know. I think it's just like being a part of a team. You have to work together. You can't only focus on yourself being a really, really strong carry player or whatever. It's always about the team and making the teamwork work, so to speak. And it's just, I don't know, it's hard to say, but there's so many beauties in Dota that most people don't see, like how the supporters move in the battle. There's so much to think about in really important fights, so it's very different compared to other games. I'm not sure. And just the feeling of when you make some really good combos work perfectly. I love that feeling where you execute everything perfectly. It's hard to get that feeling in any other games. And when it comes to StarCraft 2, I'm already so far in practice, so I would never be able to compete with the best.
People are asking how you like the new Shadow Fiend, and others are asking whether you think Shadow Fiend in Dota 2 is missing his swagger.
If he's missing swagger?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think the sad thing about I love Shadow Fiend, but it's so squishy. And at the moment, people play with so many strong early game heroes or whatever. So if you don't make Shadow Fiend work early on, and if he doesn't have BKB, it tends to be kind of useless. So I don't really know. I mean, didn't they change the animation of Shadow Fiend a short while ago as well? In the beginning, it was really crappy. It was like the races were so weird and the animation looked weird. But I think they fixed it kind of good. So I like the hero, but it's not so easy to make it work in real strats.
There was actually a funny bug in the International where Shadow Fiend had mixed up Aggie and Int gains, so he got what he gets as agility, as intelligence, and vice versa.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, so he was more of a nuker while during the International. That's why only one team picked him, and I think they failed with him too.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That's really weird.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous. Well, you haven't looked at the new 4 heroes yet, right? The new Dota heroes?
No, I haven't. That sucks a bit. I heard they were pretty imbalanced.
What do you think about Han, what do they need to do to stay competitive in the scene?
Well, it's hard to say. I think teams have to switch their play style more often. Because the boring thing about Han is that generally they just play around one imbalanced hero and win in one way or another. I just think more teams need to stick together for a long while and keep playing. I mean, it's a big hit to the community, I guess, when a lot of teams switch. So I just think S2 has to keep doing their job and maybe listen more to the community about how to balance the game to make it work.
Someone is asking about Abaddon. Would you like to see Abaddon added to the pool?
Yeah, easily. I fucking love Abaddon. I always play Abaddon as a carry mid. It's pretty strong. You go shield and nuke, and you max the passive. And then you go Sangyasha, face boots, and kill everything. It's pretty crazy.
Someone's asking whether you stopped streaming, but you already said you're going.
Well, the thing is, I am streaming sometimes, but I'm still trying to work out my internet problem. Like, I mean, people question me, like, how can you not have good internet in Sweden? And that's the question I'm asking my my broadband company. So I'm trying to work that out somehow. Maybe I will start streaming or start playing at a net cafe instead and just play with HD stream there. I haven't decided, but I've been talking to some people, so I'll probably sort it out that way. But at the moment, like when I stream at the moment, it's pretty crappy quality, and I play with a delay, like a lot of delay, and that pisses me off as well. So I think I'm gonna work it out somehow.
Someone's asking about Abaddon again. Would you play him the way you described in a proper game, in an actual league game?
Well, it depends on the kind of game. I mean, actually, sometimes I think he could work that way because the passive makes him pretty strong at picking down heroes by himself. And just getting a fat Abaddon can actually do a lot of damage, and with the ultimate, he can't be stopped pretty much. So I think you can easily try it, but I'm known to have crazy ideas that usually tend to fail. So. But sometimes they work, and that people remember them from years and years to come. So I guess that's why I do it.
How did you feel about Rubik, the Grunt Magus, when he was added?
The one from Dota 1?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's kind of cool in a way, but I didn't like the animation so much. It looked so laggy when he did some of his spells, like when he pulled heroes back and stuff. But I think he was a kind of cool hero. But not, I only played him like 3 times or something. I only missed the old, like the hero Gambler that had the same skin. That had, his spells did damage equal to how much gold he had on him and so on. And like 13 crits, like 1% chance or something. It was pretty crazy hero.
Oh man. I heard Rubik was pretty broken in Dota 1 because you had no cast time on Fissure if you copied it, so you had an instant Fissure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I stopped playing Dota a lot, like at all, for a long time, so I missed some of the things. I've always like kept following the competition and the competitive play, but those heroes haven't been picked up there, so I haven't seen much of them, except for like a pub every now and then.
Have you met your whole team in real life?
I have met everyone except Pinoy. and a few like Nikwa. But I've been talking to him for so long, so I think it would be the same thing meeting him in real life. But I mean, I've been playing with Miracle before. He's one of the best players I know. If you just give him the space to do what he's best at, I mean, he's not only a good support player, but he's a really good player on almost every hero. And you just have to make him confident in that. I met him before, I played a lot with him. He's really strong on lawns. Aki, of course, I've met before since we've been longtime friends. Nose, I met at DreamHack this year. But the other two I haven't met. I don't think so. I may have met Pinoy at one point, but I don't remember it, so.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Someone's asking, now that you're leaving Han, how do you think the players compare, I think, to Dota 2 players? And are there any Han players you respect for their skill?
Yeah, there's a lot of Han players I respect for their skill. That's why I said before, like, I think it's so stupid, like, both Han and the Dota community like to bash the other players to say they're less skilled or whatever. I think Angry Testy is really good at what he's doing, like when it comes to farming, but he's a pretty egocentric player, or whatever you call it. Like he needs to have the right kind of team. I respect Hani a lot, but he played Dota before, I guess. There are some like No Tail and their players from Fnatic are pretty good. Some Russians like Scandal are really good. And I guess there are some Americans as well, like Trial Commander and so on. So there's a lot of players I respect easily, but I still think the best players in Dota, like the Chinese and some few others, are better than the best players in Han. And the only reason I'm not mentioning Trixie, because Trixie played a lot of Han. He played Dota before as well, but he's one of the best players in Han, so I respect him a lot as well. That's why it's fun to see him play Dota 2.
Yeah, he's definitely a fun player to watch. Just like Troll Commodore. I really like watching them. And we're closing into the last question of the evening. Are there any players in the Dota scene in competitive Dota that you see as your rivals?
Well, not anymore, I would say. Like back in the day, I had some rivals, like maybe Kuroki and Milk. When it comes to the Russians, there's never been any real rivalry in that way of speaking. Like I was always friends with the Russians actually. Like when we went to China with the old DPS team and stuff. So I won't only say Milk and Kuroki, but that was only friendly rivalry. And the Swedish teams have always been, I mean, the only guys I would have a rivalry with would be the Swedish players. But there are no really good Swedish teams that have been super impressive, so I don't really have any rivalry there either.
All right. Is there anything you want to say, you want to let the people know?
Well, what to say? I actually started my own Twitter account that I'm gonna try to update, so you should probably follow me there. It's Loda Berg in one name. I can't really spell it out, so you'll have to write it in the chat. Other than that, a shout out to Matt Trim from MPW for being one of the worst pub players ever. Other than that, it's nothing to add.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm sure I'll see you sometime soon, probably at an event.
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
I'll be very happy to see you on the show again. And, well, for you viewers, thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to follow us here on Twitch TV. Follow us on Facebook / ESFI World. Follow us on Twitter, which is just ESFI. Follow me if you like me, which would be Nasrod_. Next week we're going to be back with Demon from Evil Geniuses. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I have to add one shout out to Kelly Milkis as well. Otherwise she will kill me. So big shout out to her.
Yeah, big shout out to Kelly Milkis. All right.
She's in the other room laughing. But whatever. Sorry for interrupting you.
Don't worry, man. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you're tuning in for the next episode with Demon from AG.